over a year now, and we'll be continuing to offer it through the rest of the calendar year. So thank you so much for joining us every week. We are so grateful to have really wonderful teachers from all over the world guiding us through practices in all different styles. And today we have Laura Lloyd. We're so grateful to have her joining us and leading us and guiding us today. I will put Laura's donation link into the chat for anyone who might be interested, and I'll let her explain it to you. Before I pass the microphone over to Laura, just a snippet of who's up for next week. We have Ariel Foster, one of our Cura Grace warriors, doing a class on posterior chain awakening. And Ariel's a doctor of physical therapy, so she always has really functional movements, kind of strengthening and mobility focused in her classes. So we hope that you'll join us there. But for now, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Laura. Again, thank you to all of you for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful practice.
Hey guys, so it's exciting. This is a lot of fun to be here. Laura Lloyd, I always forget to introduce myself, so I'm glad that Valerie did. I'm in Houston, Texas. It's wicked hot. I'm married to a guy from New Hampshire, so wicked. You got to throw in wicked before something, wicked hot. Donation, children with hair loss. So I grow my hair out and then I cut it. I'm kind of like when I was a kid, I had a little doll called a velvet doll, and you could grow her hair out and then you could shorten it up. So I grow mine out and then I'll cut it and I donate to children with hair loss. What I really like about them is they provide the hair to the kids and the teenagers for free. So they don't have to pay anything. So in addition to donating hair, there's also monetary donations. Since I was doing this class for June, I've also made children with hair loss my quarterly donation. Every quarter I choose a charity and then I'll donate, so they'll receive monetary funds too. So check them out. They have adorable pictures of the kids that get that replacement hair and the teenagers, and just melts your heart, melts my heart, but I'm a sucker. So okay, and then props. So as we're going through, I'll give you different ways to do what we're doing. So it's hip openers, quads. I said giving compassion. I think that will be what we're doing. But I also like just to say we're working on some body parts to get a little stiff and tight. And then also with that theme of giving compassion. So have a block, just a yoga block, a yoga strap, and a blanket. If you have cranky knees, we're doing a couple of things on knees that for me, I need a blanket. So, all right. We will get rolling. I've got my notes because even on the best of days, my mind sometimes goes off and about. So make sure I got it all, and I do. All right, so take a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. I'm sitting on a cushion so that I can have those beautiful natural curves in my spine. And also as we sit and do a little centering and arriving, it helps hips and quads and inner thighs, a lower body just can open up a little bit. And so today, as we go through the practice, approach it with a bit of kind curiosity, compassion for yourself. So many times we're critical and, oh gosh, I didn't do this right, or oh, I looked so silly. Well, today, just kind curiosity, like, hey, that didn't work, or that did work. Nothing's going to be too crazy. You can rest with your palms down or up, whichever feels better for you. But allow your booty to connect with whatever you're sitting on, and let that lengthen your spine, crown of your head up to the sky. If you want to close your eyes, feel free, or you can leave them open. First, just scan through your body. As you breathe, notice if there are any tight, tense, restriction kind of places, and see if you can let that loosen up and expand. Instead of tightening in, let it expand a bit. And just scan through your body. Maybe your throat is tight. Maybe your heart is tight or across your chest. Or maybe that crease of your thighs where your legs meet your hips, it's just gripping. See if you can let it go. And then bring your attention to your breath. The easiest way to bring us to the present moment. And as you breathe in, just notice your breath. And breathing out, notice your breath. And then imagine that you're breathing in pink, the color pink. Pick any shade you want. It can be beautiful light pink. I have plumeria blooming in my garden, and it's just the lightest pink. You can barely see it. Or it could be dark fuchsia. Just pick a pink. And as you breathe in, imagine that that's filling up your lungs, your body. And as you breathe out, send that beautiful pink color to the world. And stay with that imagery, noticing your breath. As you breathe in that beautiful pink. As you breathe out, just relax, expand, and breathe out that pink. And so for about 5 more breaths, we won't be here for long. Maybe stay with that imagery if it works for you. And if your mind starts wandering off to the rest of your day, gently guide it back like you're guiding a little puppy back to what it needs to do. Breathing in pink and out pink. And if color is not a thing for you, just breathe in softness. Breathe out softness. And just a few more breaths. Breathing in compassion and sending compassion out to the world with that beautiful, soft pink color. And then feel free to release that focus on breathing in color. Just notice your breath. And with your next inhale, bring your palms together and let your thumbs rest against your sternum. So right side meeting left side in that prayer position with your hands, getting sides of our body to start to work together. And notice as your thumbs press against your sternum, how when you breathe in, your sternum rises up to meet your thumbs or your heart center. And as you breathe out, it gently falls back in. And then with your next exhale, gently bow your chin to your chest. Just notice that little stretch on the back of your neck. And then release your hands, blink your eyes open, get your focus and raise your head. And just for grins and giggles, look around and notice if where you are, if the air, the energy in the air feels a little softer. It's an amazing thing with that pink and breathing in pink and out pink, that it just softens the air. So, okay, let's get going. So come off of, if you're sitting on something, come off, move it to the side. I'm gonna slide my cushion off and come to your back. Let me move this so you can see. So starting on your back, oh, knees can stay bent or they can be long, whichever feels better for your back. I'll start with them bent. My nose is very itchy all of a sudden. Pull your right knee to your chest. Flex your foot, wrap your hands around your right shin. Now I'm gonna lengthen. So just notice how that feels on your back. Left knee can stay bent or not. Keep that knee hugged in. Then gently curl your chin to your chest, bring your shoulder blades off the mat, just to curl up and stretch your spine. This is not ab work. You can think it is and have fun with that, but it's just stretching the spine, those muscles, and lower your head. And release that right leg and lay it long. Pull your left knee to your chest, wrap your hands maybe around that shin, or if that's difficult, thigh works too. Flex your feet. Just feel that nice stretch for your hips and the back body, back booty, your tush. And then again, chin to chest, curl up, shoulder blades off the mat. And you might feel a little stretch on the front of your leg or down your spine. And then lower back down. Left leg is long. Then pull both of your knees to your chest. You can stop, rest your toes on the mat and pull in, or just pull them on in. Wrap your hands around your shins or your thighs. Feel free to rock side to side, just to start waking up more muscles in your back, but do let your head rock too. Don't hold it captive or hostage. And then if you decided to rock, just come to your spine, stop rocking. Gently curl chin to chest, shoulder blades off the mat, curl up into that tight little ball. Feel that nice stretch down your spine. I love it. And then lower your head and bring your feet to the mat just for a little pause. All right, so pull both knees to your chest again. Bring your hands to the fronts of your knees or the tops, right? It's a funky position at this point. And then moving your knees in toward your chest, out away from each other, away from your torso and back in. So just keeping with those circles, imagine that you have crayons on the fronts of your knees and you're drawing 2 circles on the ceiling. So pulling in, away, together, and then in toward your chest. Just getting hips a little lubricated. And a couple of more times this direction. Just waking it all up. And then switch directions. Got to balance it out, right? So come the other direction. A few more times. And then bringing your knees together. So lower your feet to the mat. Of course, my block is way down there. I'll get it in a second. So just have your knees bent, feet on the mat. Feet are about hip distance apart. So first, a few little pelvic tilts. And then we'll move up to a bridge. So gently tilt your pelvis forward. So it creates more of that arch under your back. You have more space, but don't wrench it, just a little tilt. And then tilt gently with your back flat on the mat. Again, tilt forward, creating that arch. And then flatten. And one more time, tilt forward, little arch, no pinching, no gripping, and then gently flatten. This time, press into your feet. After you flatten, gently roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Up into bridge. Bring your hands down by your hips. Raise them up overhead, arms up by your ears. Then bring your arms back and down and gently lower 1 vertebra at a time until your low back hits the mat. Then gently tilt your pelvis forward. Gently press your low back to the mat, tilt your pelvis back, press into your feet, lift your hips, raise your arms up and over, back to the mat, and then back down 1 vertebra at a time, as though you're laying a string of pearls on a table. I love that imagery. All right, last one. So tilt your pelvis forward, gently flatten your back to the mat, press into your feet, lift your hips, give it a little more juice, getting some good stretch along the front of your legs. Bring your arms up and over, up by your biceps by your ears. I did have coffee, I promise. And then fingers to the ceiling, down by your side and lower 1 vertebra at a time. My block is way down there. Grab a block. This interruption is brought to you. Grab a block. All right, so knees are bent, feet are on the mat. Lift your hips up just enough so you can put that shortest height of your block underneath your sacrum. And just get nice and settled on it. I like to wrap my hands around the front of the block because it just helps me feel a little more secure. But pull your knees into your chest. Notice how your belly scoops. You have kind of a C shape. Your ribs come to your hips. Low back is toward the mat. So keep your right knee hugged in tight. I take my right hand and just hug it in. Straighten your left leg foot to the ceiling. I keep my left hand on that block. It's just me. Lower your leg down, but don't let it hit the mat, not yet. Just hang it out straight, left foot is flexed. And then gently pulse down and up, down and up. So the trick is keep your knee hugged in, keep your back scooped to the mat. So we're just kind of waking up your psoas muscle a little bit. You'll notice maybe quads too. If you do this to absolute fatigue, you can. It's good for strength, but just waking it up a bit. Keep your belly scooped down And a few more times, just down and up, kind of at your own pace. A few more. I've hidden my family off and sworn them to quiet, and I just heard something fall, so that's what stopped me. All right, so now let your back come up a little bit, let it have that arch, let your foot land on the mat, and let your knee come out a little, but still keep it hugged in to keep that tilt to your pelvis, and let that psoas muscle stretch. I love the psoas muscle, but it gets so tight and weak, and we just have to wake it up just a tiny bit. All right, pull that left knee into your chest. Maybe put your feet down and rearrange if you slid around. Left knee comes in, hug it in, straighten that right leg, flex your foot and lower it down, keeping it straight. Belly is scooped and raise and lower. So you can go just a few inches. You don't have to go super, super high. You can, but just a few inches back and forth. Just to feel, it's a tug at your inner thigh is where I feel it. And I don't, it attaches to your spine, but I don't feel that at my spine as much, but inner thigh, it's a super deep muscle. Keep that knee hugged in, scoop your belly, couple more pulses. And then let your back round up or arch, depends, and let your heel meet the mat, but keep that knee hugged in. I just feel that little stretch. So again, the front of that, your groin, the crease of your thigh. Breathe and stretch. I promise we'll be much more active. Well, not much, but more active than this. But I like just starting nice and easy. The older I get, the more I just like, you know what? Let's just enjoy how this feels instead of just kicking it. All right. Pull that right knee in, place your feet on the mat. Just pause, a couple breaths, a little supported bridge. Why not? We're here. And then press into your feet. Lift your hips up just enough to slide that block off to the side. Lower your hips to the mat. And maybe just one little tilt forward just to loosen up that low back. And press your back to the mat. And then come up to sit however works for you. You can roll to your side, or you can cross your legs at your ankles and come on up. Bring your legs long in front of you and flex your feet. So move any fluffy goodness just to start, but it's not going to really matter. Sitting up tall, fold forward. Let your back round. It's fine. Just for a few breaths. Feeling the back body. Oh my goodness. Then sitting up, bring your hands behind, fingers point forward, and hands are pretty much under your shoulders. Press into your heels. Lift your hips up off the mat. All right, lower your hips, sit up tall. Exhale, fold forward. So pretty much moving with breath. Inhale, come up to sit. Hands come behind. Exhale, lift your hips. Inhale, lower and come up to sit. Exhale, fold forward. So a couple more times, sitting up tall. Inhale, fingers come behind. Lift. Lower. Inhale and exhale, fold forward. And last one. Inhale, come up, fingers come behind. Exhale, lift. Lower down. Inhale and exhale, fold forward. And just pause. Stay here for a few breaths. Forward fold, never a bad thing. Always a good thing for me in my book. All right. Nice. So come on up. You can come up to stand is what we're doing. You can be all kinds of creative, cross your legs at your ankles and rock forward and come on up, or you can just come on up to stand. You know, sometimes I get all funky with it and just come up to stand. All right. Have some padding if you need it for your knees. It's a fun little thing that it's called hanging cobra that maybe you've done, maybe you haven't. But you can either have it to the side or you can have it on your mat. Just know that with it on your mat, it becomes a bit of a liability as you're stepping back and forth. All right, so stepping to the front of your mat, mountain pose, right? Feet are hip distance, shoulder blades are down your back, crown of your head is up to the sky. I'm just checking you guys out. Nice, turn your palms forward, come up with your hands at your shoulders, palms up, and then overhead, palms face one another. Fold forward with that nice flat back, then round, fingers by your toes. Bring your hands to your shins, look forward with a flat back. Lower your hands. If you've got that padding, watch out for it. Step your right foot back for lunge. So staying in lunge for a few breaths, you have some options to start warming up the front of that body. You can dip your knee down and bring it back up, or you can just leave your knee down if you want to and stretch your hips down toward the mat, or you can stay up wherever you are feeling a good stretch and a good little warm up. I tend to do down and up for a few breaths. If your knuckles get tired, I call them gorilla hands. I just go on my knuckles. I don't think I'm offending any gorillas. I hope not. All right. If you've dropped your knee, bring it up. So realign, make sure left knee is over your left ankle. Really feel that pressing down of your left foot into the mat. Feel that strength in your foot. Belly's nice and tight. Come up to stand. All right, so crescent is very tippy. I know you can drop your foot. You're just not gonna, and it'll work. It's just easier for me to align my hips front. So hips and shoulders to the front. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Press your knuckles down to the mat, and then lift your arms up and back. Feel a nice stretch across your chest. I have to watch out turning to look at the camera if I fall. So just feel that, oh, nice stretch across your pecs. Breathe. Back leg is straight, front knee is bent. Maybe you're shaking. Unclasp your hands. Bring your hands to either side of that front foot. Again, watch your padding if it's there. Bring your left foot back for plank. So of course, plank is just a nice measurement for down dog. Bring your hips up and back for down dog. That triangular shape with your booty being the peak of the triangle. Press your chest back towards your thighs. Feel free to bend one knee, press the opposite heel down, bicycle your legs. Just stretching out that back seam of your legs. I always think about those old pantyhose with the seams up the back. Then press both heels down to the mat, chest back toward your thighs. A little sway maybe of hips side to side. And play with your dog. Then come forward to plank and drop your knees. So if you have a blanket, you can rest your hips on it if it gets a little uncomfortable with your hips, but come down to your belly. There's a couple ways to get into this. So let me show you the most gentle first, and then I can show you a little more stretchy. Left arm comes out long to start with. Roll to your left side and rest your head against your hand or your bicep, whatever you choose. Kick your bottom foot to the front corner of your mat, and then kick the top heel to your booty and take hold of that foot. Right knee comes back, lower it down, and tuck your tailbone. So I'm working on this quad stretch, front of your hip, rectus femoris. If this is just like, really, Laura, what are you doing? You can roll to your belly. You can come up onto an elbow with your fingers pointing toward the right corner of your mat. Take hold of that foot. Bring it in closer. Kind curiosity. Be nice to your body. Just notice what it does. Love it. If this is still just so easy for you, you can come up higher. So I'll do this for like 2 seconds, but this is not what I want to do. You can come up higher. Keep your hips even with your mat. Up to you. A few more breaths. Quadriceps. They're tight, right? They're always so grumpy. And then I get them stretched out and that creep effect takes over and I'm right back to where I was. All right, release tension between your hand and foot first. Then lay that foot long. If you're on your side, roll to your belly. Nice. Come up, hands and knees. Realign or readjust your padding and bring your knees wide on your mat. So wide leg child's pose, but knees are on your blanket if you want them. Big toes touch, booty to your heels, arms reach far in front. Let your head just sink down towards your mat for a few breaths. If your head's hanging out, of course, my block's back here. You can grab a block. You can rest your forehead on the block. You can stack fists and rest your head on your fists just for a few little hip opening moments. All right, reach your hands out as far as you can. Hanging cobra. This is one of my favorites. I've never heard anyone complain about it, so people love it. Come up, hands and knees, and let your shoulders stack over your wrists. Big toes touch, bring your feet up, and then sink your hips down. So it's a little back bend. All right, we'll go through it a few times. So come back into wide leg child's pose, booty to your heels. Keep your hands where they are, come up, stack shoulders over wrists, raise your feet, sink your hips. And then come back to wide leg child's pose. One of my favorites, just saying, I have them a lot. Come up, shoulders over wrist. Bring your feet up, sink your hips down, and then come back to wide leg child's pose. Nice. So come up, hands and knees, bring your knees back in, hip distance, flip to the balls of your feet, wrists under shoulders, come up for plank and down dog. Oh, see already, the backs of my legs are saying, you haven't stretched. All right, so stick with me. Look between your hands, bring your right foot forward. So you're back into a lunge. If you need to, drop that back knee and just grab your foot and bring it on up. Nice. So warming up this left side, again, you can dip your knee down or back up. You can just leave it down and stretch, letting your hips drop, or you can have your knee up and stretch that way. And again, if your fingers get tired, you can come onto your knuckles. Just a nice stretch. Couple of breaths. I feel like a wishbone at Thanksgiving. I don't know, like if you guys did, but we would always take the wishbone and try and stretch it, break it. I feel like I'm being stretched. All right, bring your knee up, plant your feet in, really feel your right foot pressing into your mat. So you feel those strength of your legs, belly comes to your spine, then come on up. Whoop, high crescent, always tippy. Bring your hands behind your hips, press your knuckles down, arms come up and back. Nice little chest opener, back leg is straight. Sink into that front leg. Breathing. Kind curiosity. If it's tippy, if it's not working, no worries. Days are different, right? Some days you can stick it and other days you just get wobbly. All right, unclasp your hands, bring them to the front of your mat. Right foot comes back for plank. Watch your padding. Nice. Drop your knees. Come down to your belly. So hips can be on your blanket if you want to. And same deal. So my back's going to be to you for 2 seconds. Right arm comes out long. Roll to your right side. Bottom foot kicks forward. Top heel to your booty. Take hold of that foot. Lower your left knee down. Back. Tuck your tailbone. That's one option. So if this is great for you, stay put. There's no reason to force it. If you want to go a little further, come to your belly, elbow and forearms, left fingers point to that, right fingers point to that left corner of your mat. Take hold of your foot. If you want to come up higher, here's my 2 seconds. Higher. It's just so interactive. Come back down. And have your hips equally settled on your mat. Breathe. Feel that delightful stretch. A few more breaths. Feel that quadricep not wanting to stretch is how mine feels this morning. Then release pressure between your hand and your foot first. Don't just let it sprung back, and lower your leg down. If you're on your side, roll to your belly. Hands by your chest and come up hands and knees. Bring your knees wide on your mat again for some hanging cobras. Big toes touch, come into child's pose. Hands are out as far as they can go. Just pause, getting all lined up. And then come on up, shoulders over wrist, sink your hips, raise your toes. Come back into child's pose. Come on up, shoulders over wrist. Big toes are touching, raise them up, sink your hips. Come back, wide leg child's pose. And one more, come up, shoulders over wrist, sink your hips, back of your neck is long. And come back, wide leg child's pose. Just pause and enjoy it. Enjoy child's pose. Let your head rest on something. If you can reach the mat, your fists or a block. And then come up, hands and knees. Bring your knees in hip distance, shoulders over wrist. Come to the balls of your feet and come up for plank. And down dog. Ooh, feel the backs of those legs. Nice stretch. Look between your hands. This time, bring your left foot forward. And drop that knee if you need to. Muscle that leg forward. Nice. Bring your right foot forward. Always tricky, right? Fingers by your toes, fold forward. You can definitely have a bend to your knees if you need to, but have your hands rest on something. Nice. Belly to your spine, hands to your hips, elbows up to the ceiling, and come up with a flat back. Arms up overhead, gather up beautiful energy. Bring it down to your heart. All right, so pause. If you want to close your eyes, feel free. If you just want to get your hair out of your face, feel free. Feel your heart beating. Kind curiosity, just notice what's going on in your body. If you feel a little more awake, a little more energized, if you feel excited, bored, just notice. And maybe breathe in a little bit of pink and send out that beautiful compassion to the world. And then release your hands, shake it out, make any adjustments that you need. Let me see if we need anything. No. So move your padding off to the side. I've always been one of those that I have to have notes. I play the piano. When I was a kid, I would do recitals and I had to have that music in front of me. So that's how I roll. All right, come back to the front of your mat. We're gonna add on just a tiny bit. Shoulder blades down your spine. Pull your belly in nice and tight. So it's protecting your back. Crown of your head to the sky. Turn your palms forward, come up to the side, and palms face each other. Then turning them out, fold forward. Don't let your back dump. Keep a nice flat back. Crown of your head points down. Bend your knees if you need to. Bring your hands to your shins. Look forward with a flat back. Hands back to the mat. Bring your right leg back for a lunge. All right, press into your feet. Really feel that left foot pressing down. Belly is snug. Come on up. All right, you can bring your hands to your heart, to your waist, wherever works for you, so you've got your balance. But dip your right knee down to the mat. Come back up, put the weight in your left foot, and come forward, right foot at an angle. So we're gonna do that a few times because now you're like, what? Bring your right foot back carefully, high crescent. So again, dip your knee down, come up. Weight goes in that left foot, come forward. There goes my balance, come forward. And then bring your right leg back, high crescent. Part of it is I'm looking around, dip your right knee down, come up. Weight in that left foot, bring your right foot forward. Oh, my left leg is awake. Right leg comes back, high crescent. We'll do one more. I'm glad I have a wall. Drop your knee down, come back up. Weight in that foot and come forward. Bring your right leg back, pause, Right leg is straight, sink into that front knee. Feel a nice stretch on the front of that thigh. Bring your hands to either side of that front foot. Left foot comes back for plank and then drop your knees. So if your knees are cranky, grab something, but if we're doing bird dog, that's what I call it. So it doesn't really get my knees. Shoulders over wrists, knees are hip distance. Bring your right leg long behind you, toes touch first. Keep your pelvis even with your mat. Raise your right leg up. Foot is flexed. Bring your left arm out for a little balance. Thumb on your left hand spins toward the ceiling. Then bending your right knee, bending your left elbow, bring them to touch underneath your chest. And whew, reach out long again. Again, bring elbow and knee to touch. And reach out long. Belly snug. Bring your elbow and knee to touch. Reach out long. 2 more. Bring them to touch. We're not fatiguing. We're just warming up. And bring them out long. And last one. Touch on this side, right? And bring it out long. Nice. Bring your left hand to the mat. Right knee. Come down to your belly. And bring your right arm into cactus arm. So, you know, cactus arm is that 90-degree angle. So laying on your chest, right arm's cactus arm, elbows just a little higher than your shoulder, not super higher, but higher. We're working on feeling a stretch in this front flap. I hate that, but it's what it is, a flap of your armpit, your pecs. So cactus arm on your belly, left hand is by your chest, roll to your right side. My back is to you, but so you can see this arm. You can stack your feet. You can bring your left leg back to really get more towards your back and adjust your arm if you need to, so you can feel that flap on the front of your armpit. Don't you love that description? How else would you say it? So breathe, pec stretch. We're on devices so much. Our chests are closed, and so a little heart opener. Breathe, stretch, enjoy. You're going to feel lopsided a little bit probably. 2 more full breaths. Just letting it stretch, not hurting, just stretching, of course. And then if you bent that left leg, lay it long, roll to your belly. Coming out of it usually is a little less comfortable. Bring your hands by your chest. Plant the tops of your feet on the mat. Bring your shoulders up and back away from your mat. Back of your neck is long. Press into your hands and imagine that I'm pulling you up from low shoulder blades and rise on up. Let your hips relax toward the mat, but keep your belly snug. Lower back down, flip to the balls of your feet, come up hands and knees or straight up to plank. Hips up and back for down dog. Love it. Oh, I have stuff on my mat. All right, stay with me. Look between your hands. Bring your right foot forward. Yep. So putting that weight into your right foot, really press down into your mat. Belly snug to your spine. Press down into that foot and come on up. Pick where you want your hands. Some of you I'm seeing are go-getters. I am not so much. All right, dip your left knee down. Bring it up. Plant the weight in your right foot. Left foot comes forward. Flex your left foot. Bring your foot back for crescent. Dip. Come up. Bring your foot forward. Reach far behind you. Nice. Dip. Come up. Bring your foot forward. Come back. Whoop. Last one. Dip. I'm always good at laughing with myself. Knee comes up. Plant that foot, right foot, and bring your left up. Oh, I feel my right booty. Bring your left foot back. Pause. Just let your left leg be straight. Front knee is bent. Nice. Bring your hips to either side of that front, your hands to your front foot, plant your hands, bring your right foot back for plank and drop your knees. Bird dog on the other side, shoulders over wrist, knees over hips, hips over knees. Bring your left leg long behind you. Raise it up hip height. Notice that your hips are even and right arm comes out. Reaching in opposite or different directions, opposite directions, yeah. Bend your right elbow, bend your left knee. Connect under your chest. Reach long. Come back, touch. Nice, and reach. And touch. And reach, crossing up energies. And touch, which is a good thing. And reach, nice. Bring your right hand down, left knee to the mat. Come down to your belly. So I'll turn this side so you can see cactus arms. Come down to your belly. Left arm is a cactus. Elbows just a little higher than your shoulder. Right hand's by your chest. Roll to your left side. Your head can rest. You can bring that right leg back behind you. Just a nice little stretch. I'm going to readjust. If you're not really feeling the front of that armpit, you can move your elbow a little higher, a little lower. Just notice what works for you. About 3 more breaths. Time flies, doesn't it? Then roll to your belly. Bring your hands by your chest. Tops of your feet press down into your mat. Roll your shoulders up and back, away from your mat. Back of your neck stays long. Press into your hands, curl up, low cobra. Nice. Lower back down, flip to the balls of your feet, come up for plank. And down dog. Look between your hands, bring that left foot forward. Muscle it up if you need to, drop a knee. Bring your right foot forward and fold. Crown of your head points down. Pull your belly tight to your spine, bring your hands to your hips, elbows up to the sky and come up with that flat back. Reach your arms up overhead and together at your heart. Whew. Feel your heart beating. Just pause, breathe. Maybe feel the energy in your legs. Just notice how your body feels. All right, then release your hands. So if it's a harder thing for you to standing, reach and grab your foot, feel free to have a strap and just make a little loop. I'll use the wall and you can strap your foot or your ankle to do. So up to you if you need a strap or not. But we're going to play with a little dancer's pose. It's my favorite, and I'll tell you why. As we're doing. So first, to get you set up, weight goes in your left foot, right heel kicks to your booty. So you can just hold on to your foot or you can move your hand to the inside and pinch at that ball of your big toe, up to you. But press foot into hand, hand into foot. So bring your left arm up by your ear. My thing that I love to do is connect index and thumb. All right, so I'll face you. Pressing foot into hand, hand into foot. Hips and shoulders are even to the front. Fold forward. So, giving compassion. I always think of this as giving somebody a flower. And I'm holding my fingers, give a flower. But also remember that we need to receive. So this can also be, we're receiving something wonderful. Breathe. Yeah. Oh, booty. So this is my very favorite pose. All right, gently come up to stand. Release that pressure between hand and foot. Lay that foot long. Maybe shake out your left leg. Oh, I love it. I hope you love it. It's just my thing. All right, so weight goes in your right foot. I'll show you from the side. Weight is in your right foot. Kick your left heel to your booty. Again, just holding on to your foot or bring your hand to the inside of your foot. pinching your thumb into the ball of your foot. Arm comes up by your ear, right arm. Bring index and thumb together, hips and shoulders to the front. Press left foot into hand, hand into foot. Hinge forward. Can you see it? Giving someone a little flower, a little gift, but also receiving. You got to have that energy exchange, right? Give compassion. And if it's not working for yourself today, no big deal. Kind curiosity. All right, gently come back up. Ooh, release tension between hand and foot and lay it long. Nice. Oh, shake it out. We'll do one more time, just so if you did it once and now your body's like, oh yeah, now I see what you're doing. All right. So weight goes in left foot, right heel kicks to your booty. Decide where you want your hand. I like to move mine to the inside of my foot. Square hips and shoulders to the front, bicep by your ear. Maybe pinch your fingers together or don't, it doesn't matter. Reach forward, press foot into hand. You can have your hand flat. Maybe that's a better way to give and receive for you. I just like the flower. Then gently come back up. Release tension, hand and foot, and lay it long. All right, left side. And then I promise stretching will commence. More stretching. Left heel to your booty. Really feel that right foot planting down. Pick where you want your hand. Right bicep by your ear. Maybe fingers connect or not, that little mudra, and fold forward. Press your foot into your hand. Feel that stretch. If your belly's crunching up a little bit, just pull your belly in snug, pull up on your pelvic floor. Give and receive. Compassion, we all need it. Then come on up. Gently release that tension and lower. Oh, shake it out if you need to. Feel your booty. All right, come to the front of your mat. We're just gonna do a fancy flow just to come to sit. So if you wanna just skip it, come on to sit, but feet are hip distance, shoulder blades down your back. Inhale your arms up, fold forward, fingers by your toes. Just feel a little stretch for the back of your body. Bring your hands to your shins, look forward with a flat back. Lower your hands to the mat, step your feet or hop if you really want to be interactive for plank and drop your knees. You have a couple of choices. You can come to a hip and then swing your legs in front or cross at your ankles, bring your booty to your heels and on back, and then bring your legs in front. See, sneaky, but really have a seat. Bring your legs in front. This time, just reach behind your thighs and move them off to the side to move any fluffy goodness, is what I call it, off to the side and really feel your sit bones connect. Bring your hands by your hips, sit up tall, flex your feet. Excuse me, a little dandasana, staff pose, shoulders roll back, belly is snug. And then like your back is a board, hinge forward. I never get very far. If you get further, well, rock star, but kind curiosity, right? Just be compassionate, go with it. Then let your back round, reach your arms forward and fold. For about 4 full breaths. I love forward fold, so I would stay here forever with just a few breaths. You can gently tuck your chin towards your chest and move it away and just notice that posterior chain that I think we're exploring next week, which is so exciting. Nice. Then gently come on up. All right, so I'll turn so you can see. Left leg can be long, cross your right leg over. It can stay in. If that works, we're gonna do a twist. If this is better for you, stay put, cross it over. Or if you're super, super bendy, and we call it, my kids call this pretzeling. If you wanna be a pretzel, bring your left heel by your right hip. Just make sure both sides of your booty are on the mat. Make sure that your right foot is flat, like you could stand on it, but you won't. Hand or elbow pulls that right knee in close. Right hand behind you, sit up tall and twist toward that bent knee. You can go open. If you're expecting, please go open, open twist, but otherwise to the right. Every time you breathe in, just check in with your spine. Is it nice and tall? Twisting at your ribs. You don't have to force it, just a nice little twist. Whew. Houston is hot. I have a fan going. I'm sure glad I do. And a few more breaths, noticing on your inhale if your spine is long. If not, lengthen it. Then gently untwist. Bring your, if you pretzeled up, bring your left leg long, uncross. And so pick, right leg will be long. You can have your left foot inside, outside, or totally pretzel up. I'll go from the side this time. I'll have my back. But have your left foot flat on the mat, both sides of your booty on the mat. Left hand behind, right hand takes hold of that knee, or your elbow can hug it in. Twist toward that bent knee. You do not have to twist far at all. You don't have to turn your head. You can keep it just lined up with your sternum. And just notice where you feel the twist. If you feel more back or hip. A few breaths. Maybe feeling your breath calming, maybe your pulse is calming. And then gently untwist. So unpretzel or uncross your legs, bring the soles of your feet together for a little bound angle. So a lot of times people like to grab their ankles and just yank them in. Stay with me. Have your feet out a bit. Bring your hands behind your hips. Press down so you can lift your hips off the mat and bring hips to heels. I just find it helps so my hips don't clench up as much. Then walk your hands in, press your feet together, drop your knees out. You can keep your hands behind you, totally fine with a little bit of weight off of your booty. It helps knees to go closer to the mat. Or a lot of people just really want to hinge forward. Feel free, wrap your hands around your toes, hinge, excuse me. Or you can put your thumbs on the ball of your foot and open your feet up like books. Open up, that works too. But try and have a nice flat back. Oh, hips, I feel them. Breathe, enjoy. I see blue sky, it looks so gorgeous. And then if you folded forward, come up, maybe bring your hands to your outer thighs, bring your knees up, come to your back. Oh, yay, right? Everyone says yay when it's back on your back. All right, pull your knees to your chest and bring your hands to the tops or the fronts of your knees, whichever you want to say. Bring your knees out towards your armpits. So we're moving toward happy baby. So bring your hands, arms inside of your legs, reach over your shins to take hold of your outer foot, your pinky, and bring your feet up. Stacking ankles over knees, feet are flexed. Maybe give a little tug down on your feet. Maybe rock side to side, like a happy baby. I have a teacher friend who says, if you rock side to side, you're a happy baby. If you stay in the middle and don't rock, you're a dead bug. But sometimes the baby gets stuck on its side, so totally up to you. Oh. And then if you decided to happy baby, stop rocking, just pause in the middle, little tug on your feet. Then lower your feet down, let go of your feet, bring your knees into your chest, wrap your hands around your shins or your thighs, whichever feels better. Gently rock side to side. if you want to. Some people absolutely hate doing that, so don't if you don't want to. And then come to your spine. And as we did at the beginning, keeping your knees hugged in, gently curl your chin to your chest, raise your shoulder blades off the mat and curl up into a tight little ball, stretching down those muscles in your spine. Lower your head, lower your feet to the mat, and get comfy however works for you for Shavasana. There's a blanket if you want to use the blanket to cover with or put it under your knees. I just like laying out flat. Your feet can flop open. Arms can be down by your side. Cactus arms, whatever works for you. And first, just let your spine settle, your body relax. Notice how your body feels now that your practice is winding down. Notice with a kind curiosity, compassion for yourself. And again, breathing in that beautiful pink color, if that works for you. Breathing in softness. Just feeling expansion as you breathe in. Or maybe just feeling tension melt away. And as you breathe out, send that same beautiful compassion to the world. And when your mind goes drifting off into what's next, gently guide it back like it's the cutest little puppy. Guide it back to your breath, to whichever version works for you. Maybe just feel your breath. Or maybe breathe in that beautiful pink. And breathe out beautiful pink. For just a few more breaths. Enjoy that compassion and not having to do anything or go anywhere. And one last deep, beautiful breath. Breathe in, beautiful pink. And breathe it out. Send it to the world. Let the world be a softer place. Then gently wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Maybe make fists with your hands and just move your hands around to gently rotate and stretch your wrists. Maybe raise one leg at a time, point, flex your foot, rotate your ankle. And do the other foot if you want to. Then point your toes, bring your arms up overhead for a nice full body stretch. Waking everything back up. And then bring your arms down by your side, gently bend your knees, place your feet on the mat. Just pause, let your spine settle. And then choose how you want to come up to sit. You can roll to your right side and press your hand into the mat or the floor and come up. Or you can rock forward, pulling your knees into your chest, whichever you want to do. But come on up to an easy cross-legged position. Bring your hands at your heart. Thank you all so much for joining me today. This has been just a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Laura. That's great.
Thanks,
Thank you
Valerie.
so much, Lawyer. Oh, that was so great. You have such wonderful energy. It's contagious. I see people smiling.
Good. Smile. Go spread it. Go smile at somebody.